Hello everybody! Is my stream working here? Hold on one sec. We are playing Star Citizen today, and I figured I would give you guys a quick intro into mining and how to make money. So the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys is, you know, it's kind of hard to figure out how to make money in Star Citizen, and a lot of people struggle with how to start. So the easiest way that I found is mining. Now you can of course do a bunch of other things. You can run delivery missions, you can run cargo missions, but you really have to have the right ship, and it's not really worth your time. Even on some of the most profitable delivery missions, which is where you're picking up a box and delivering it from one place to the next, it's, you know, you only make between 7 and 10,000 credits, and you have to sometimes travel large distances. So what I did is I went ahead and got a MISC Prospector. So that's what you're going to need in order to do this. You know, you can buy it with in-game credits. I'm not sure how many it is. I think it's like 1.6 million in-game credits, which is obviously quite a lot if you don't have any money. So I purchased it with real money, which I'm kind of against, but I went ahead and paid the $155 for the MISC Prospector. And I'm really glad that I did, because my revenue has went up probably 30-fold since I've done that. So here we are in Port Alisar. This is where you're going to start. And the great thing about mining is that the distance that you have to travel is very small, because we're just going to be going from Port Alisar to Yela. And that is in the same system. It's actually one of the moons of Crusader, which is where Port Alisar is. So we are going to pull out our ship, which is the Prospector. And we're going to go mining. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to mine, what to look for. We're at 7. And what kind of rocks you should be looking for, and how you can actually mine them without them exploding in your face. Through the airlock. Don't you just love this game? I love the realism. That is the thing that I love the most about the game, is the realism. I play some other games, you know, like No Man's Sky and such, but they're just so cartoony. They don't feel realistic. This one definitely does, and it's really fun to fly new ships. So first, let's take a quick tour of our Prospector. This is her. This is what she looks like. These side things kind of going up and down like that, those actually can be rotated behind you. Depending on, it's really great if you want to go up and down really fast, you put them down in that position. If you want to go forward really fast, you put them back by hitting J. We have our storage here for our what we're going to collect when we're mining. Now, I've upgraded the weapons on my Prospector just because I've gotten attacked a few times. Not that it's really going to help. But I have a laser repeater on this side, one of the best ones you can buy. And then I have a scatter gun on this side. I'll show you how they fire in just a moment. That one fires kind of like a shotgun. And then the most important part is your mining head here. So the base head that comes with the Prospector is no good. You're going to go crazy trying to mine rocks with the head that comes with it. So instead, what you need to buy is the best laser you can get your hands on, which is a Helix size 1 for the Prospector. You can buy it right here in Port Alisar at the Dumpers Depot for 108,000 credits. So when you do finally buy a Prospector, make sure you have at least 108,000 credits so that you can get the better head. It is so worth it. You spend half as much time mining and make probably twice as much money. We're just going to get on board our Prospector here. I really love the cockpit of the Prospector. It's got this wide open, as you can kind of see when we're on the pad here, it's got this wide open glass in the front, so you have nothing obstructing your view. For those of you that are familiar with, let's say, driving a Max Freelancer or one of those other ones, you know, you have to spend quite a, you don't really have peripheral vision because the window is so small. So we're going to request takeoff here from Port Alisar Landing Services on our comms menu. And we're also going to pick our destination on our star map really quick, because I like to spool up while I'm inside the no arms zone in Port Alisar so you don't get attacked. We're going to Yela. There's a few different places you can mine. Yela, you can mine there. You can mine on Selin. You can also mine on Daimar. The thing that Daimar has that the other two don't have is that there's some very valuable handonite. But in order to get that, you have to get out of your ship and get it by hand. That's all well and do, but I find it very time-consuming, and it's almost more profitable just to look for rocks inside your mining ship instead of having to land and get out and blah, 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 because as you're going to see, we can mine without ever having to land. And the less we need to land, the better, because the less time it's going to take us. So we're going to zoom over here to Yela really quick. travel over there. Bam! I like to call that the butthole when it sucks in like that. So we are buttholed and ready to go. So once we get to Yella, there's really only one thing we want to look for. The rocks spawn randomly around the planet. So really all you need to make sure is, and the most important thing is, that you have daylight, because you can't see the rocks that you need without daylight. Now there's a few different ways to find rocks. The most common way is by scanning with your scanner, which you hit tab to open the scan menu. However, the problem that I find with that is that, you know, depending on where you're scanning, the scan doesn't go out very far, and it doesn't always find all the rocks. So I'm going to teach you another way to do it as well. We're going to head to Devkin's research outpost. Again, it doesn't really matter where you start. You want to be close to the surface, obviously, otherwise you're going to have to go very, very far down. But, you know, just go to any of the research outposts as long as it's daylight. And this one looks like it's on the back side of the planet where it's getting dark, so I'm going to cut my engines right here, actually. I don't want to go all the way there. And we're just going to go straight down to the surface from here. So what you want to pick out is a nice white spot, nice and snowy, like the spot I'm heading for right now. And look, our engines are back, right? The only way to really see them is to come into this view. Yep. You want to look for something really snowy so that the rocks stand out really well on the snowy backdrop. That's why I like this planet. Daimar, it's orange, so it's not as easy to see. Selen is also pretty snowy, so it's easy to see on Selen. I just found this to be the best area to mine. You know, the most abundance of rocks and the right sizes and such that you can get in your Prospector. Other thing you want to pay attention to on your Prospector that you don't normally have to pay attention to in game really that much is your hydrogen fuel level. You use up quite a bit hydrogen fuel while on the surface of the planet mining. Just keep that in mind. The other thing too is be careful because there is no gravity on this planet. So we're going to go ahead and rotate these down because it's very, very easy, believe me, to crash into the surface of this planet. So we're about 10,000 feet. I'm going to level this out now, and you're going to see we're still going to be dropping very rapidly as our acceleration pushes us into the planet. And I would crash right now if I didn't have my engines rotated down. But since I do, I'm going to wait until I get to about 2,000 feet, and then I'm going to fire those boys up. Fire, 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 fire. And that should put you right around the right altitude. So you can see now we're not going down anymore. Now, we're going to reduce our speed. When you're mining, it's good to have your cruise control somewhere right where that red line is on the left. I like to put it right under that red line because you don't want to be going too fast. And on this planet, you really want to be at an altitude of about 600 feet. Unless you're in the mountains. Right now I'm in kind of a mountainous region, so I'm probably going to leave it at about 900 feet. So here we are, we're in position to mine. The other thing too is you want to make sure you're not going in circles. The easiest way to do that is to point at a landmark. We're going to use the ring that we can see there. Another reason why I like this planet. We're going to just head towards the ring, stay in the daylight, and you can start to see how rocks are populating down on the bottom there. And I can already see ones that we can mine, so I'm gonna turn off my cruise control. So what we're looking for is rocks. You can see, like I said, how they're spawning in. The rocks that actually have minerals in them spawn out much further out in the verse. So you can see them from a greater distance. Now, when we were coming up this way, I noticed that these rocks here right in front of us had spawned in before the rest of them, which usually means that they're mineable. There's also a rock out to the right over there. See how it's very far away? Now, without even scanning, I can tell you that that rock is mineable. And that's the joy of learning this method, because even if we scanned, which we'll go ahead and scan, we might not necessarily find that rock. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. It's kind of a crapshoot. But you see there, I didn't find anything. I could have been wrong. These rocks right in front of us might not be mineable, but I know for sure that one over on the right is, just based on the distance it is from us. We're going to scan again. Sometimes the scanner can be a bit tricky and finicky as well, which is why I like the other method. So, you know, as you get closer to this rock, obviously other things are going to spawn in. There we go. What did I tell you? So that was for sure a rock. I guess the other one I was looking at wasn't. And you see how we were right over there, but it didn't show up on our scan. So again, that's why it is important that you pick them out. Now, once you find one, you want to come up on it pretty slow, and you're going to get as close as you can to it until you see that it turns orange and a little white circle starts circling. So we'll just get in until we see that. Just go nice and slow. You don't want to crash. It's not fun to crash, especially when your cargo is full. There we go. We want it to look like that. And once it looks like that, we're going to hold left mouse button on the rock, and you'll see there we get a few bits of information. The mass of this is 4,200 pounds, and it is mainly gold and aluminum. Now, that may seem great, but we're not going to be concerned with gold or aluminum. I call this a garbage rock. And I'll tell you that because... Let's go back on cruise control. Because it's not really worth your time and effort. You really have to be picky when you're mining. Because otherwise you're just going to be making trips back and forth for maybe making 15 or 20,000 credits. But if you use the method that I'm talking about and that I'm showing you, I earn on average 70,000 credits per run. 70,000 credits. That's right. So please, you know, if you want to make money, follow my methodology because it works. The other thing too is we really want to be looking for clusters of rocks that are together. I like to call it a gangbang. When you find, well, actually somebody else in the game gave me that term, gangbang, which is when you find 5 or 6 rocks kind of clustered together. Actually, I think I see one over there. You have to be a little bit, I do see one over there. The shadow sometimes where the snow is melting kind of looks like rocks. So sometimes you might think that you find a gangbang and you get over there and there's nothing there, which is fine. It's part of the fun of it. We got one rock right here, not a gangbang, but we'll go ahead and scan it since we're already right here. You really don't want to spend a lot of your time like hunting out these little rocks, because these little rocks that are just in a single group, because as you're going to find out, you know, a lot of times, more often than not, they're not really something that you want. So that's why if you look for gangbangs, you see how we're having a hard time scanning this rock? Sometimes if you scan a different rock first, that one, then you can, sometimes that'll let you, or maybe that is the mineable rock. Alright, so that is our mineable rock, and this is a good time to show you what we're looking for, because this has something that we are looking for. So this is mainly argicium. And when you're looking at that light on the right, the list, the most valuable minerals show up at the top of that list. So even though the argicium is only 3% of this rock, you see that 3.10, and titanium 3.0, it's showing up first because it's the most valuable. Now, when we're talking about our picky selection process, you want to look for rocks that have at least 2.5% either argicium or lernite. On this planet, it's mainly argicium, but there is also some lernite. In this case, this rock qualifies for something we want to mine because it is 3.1% argicium, and that is more than 2.5%. Now, that rule is only for rocks in their original state before you bust them up. And we'll talk about what happens after you bust them up right after we do it. So we want to bust this guy up. We got more than 2.5%. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to our mining mode by hitting M. You're going to see our little laser come out. How cool is that? Now, if you do this and the HUD doesn't show up, which right now it's not showing up, just go out of mining mode, hit M, wait for it to retract, and then hit M again. Now you can see we have our HUD here. Now, there's a lot of information to take in here. If you really want to go through it in detail, I would suggest checking out some other websites for reference. I'll give you a brief overview starting at the top left. So energy transfer graph, this is just going to show you how much energy you're transferring to the rock. You'll see that after we start. Instability 1.78, so the higher the instability, the more the rock energy level is going to fluctuate, making it, you know, the higher the instability is, the more likely that you're going to explode it or something terrible is going to happen. 1.7 is actually pretty high. That's a high instability. The resistance, I don't really pay attention to that, but it's how easy the energy flows in. Then you have your laser throttle. You control your throttle with mouse wheel. So as I mouse wheel up, I'm increasing the throttle on the laser. And then right under that is the rock energy level. So the objective of this is to get that rock energy level in the green and stay inside the green until the rock fractures. If it starts to go into the red, you'll start getting what they call an overcharge, which if you look directly to the right hand side of the HUD, there's an overcharge sensor. When that gets to 100%, the rock's going to explode and probably take you out with it. The one right above the overcharge sensor is the fracturing sensor, and that tells you how close your rock is to being fractured. Your cargo capacity is pretty self-explanatory how much cargo you have. We have 0% in our ship right now. So we're going to start breaking this up. Hit left mouse button to start your laser. And then we're gonna just wait until we get inside of that green level. Once we get in there, I'm gonna back off the throttle. I found my most efficient method is once you get close to the green, back off your throttle all the way to 50%. Go all the way down to 50%. And then keep an eye on that, and you'll see it's hovering right in the middle of that green bar. And on the right, our fracturing sensor is going up. We're getting no overcharge. Now, if you are getting overcharge, you want to go back down, scroll your mouse wheel down, but don't do it in large chunks, do it slowly. If that overcharge does start building up, just stop your laser altogether. And it is possible that it will still blow up after you stop your laser, so back up from it as well. You can keep your eye on that little sensor to see. So here's what happened. Our rock broke up into smaller pieces. So now that we're in this mode, we need to scan each piece. And all you have to do in this mode is hover over the piece. So this is titanium. We don't want it. Again, we're looking for agricium. Here it is, 26%. And what that means when the rock is orange is that means that you can break it up, you can break it again. And actually you need to break it again in order to get the minerals that you want. So they turn purple when it's ready to be collected. We're gonna make sure that we scan all the pieces because sometimes you never know, you can find something that you weren't expecting to find. It looks like this is all pretty much junk. Junk. So most of everything is gonna be in here. Now, when you break up an orange piece, a secondary piece, it's gonna break up much faster and the instability is way higher. In this piece, it's 2.97. So you wanna start out really, really slow with your laser. We're gonna start at 3%, and then we're just gonna tick it up just a little bit. 14%, you can see we're already getting some charge in there. I'm pretty far from it too, your distance does matter. Okay, we're already in the green, so we're gonna back way off to 5%. And we're gonna watch that 20%, 19%, seems to be stable. Our fracturing sensor is going up. And we should have this baby busted open in no time. There we go. So now we busted it. Now we can start to see purple pieces. Purple pieces are ready for collection. So again, we need to look through these pieces and find what we're looking for, which is the argicium. There it is at 94%. That's pretty good. In this stage, the rule is when they're in the purple stage, the collection stage, you want to look for things that have what you're looking for in excess of 65% or so. Now, if you want to take a few that are 50% or 55%, you can do so, but I found the most efficient method is collecting 90% or more. This was or 60% or more. This was 94%, so that was really great. It's all we found in this rock. We are now 8% full, and in order to collect it, you just right-click to move from fracture mode to extraction mode, and then once you do that, you just click on something. Excuse me. You click on something and hit your mouse button, and you'll collect it. So that's all this rock had. We got 8% of our cargo full, and that's all we really got. Which that's actually pretty good. I think I saw a gangbang over here, so we're gonna go look for that. Now it is kind of annoying that you have to tab out of the scanning mode into the regular mode to see your altitude and such. We're gonna scan. Could have swore I saw a collection of rocks over here. It could have been a shadow. Happens all the time. I don't see them now. And our scans are not really picking up anything. So I could have been wrong, or maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place. But if we don't find it here in a second, I'm just gonna move on. Alright, we're gonna move on back towards the ring. Oh wait, we're getting something here. Now this box means there's something inside of that box that you have to find. In a lot of cases you'll find that it's diamond. I see it over there. Not really that valuable, and you have to get out and mine it by hand. Like I said, not very efficient. So we're going to start heading back towards the ring there. That's the direction we were heading. Looks like I might have a mineable rock over there. You can see it sitting up there on the ledge. You see it right in front of me? Spawning in. Yeah, I was right. Look at that. It is a rock. So once you really get a feel for this, you can spot rocks from very far away without using your scanner. And that's really the most efficient method for mining, I feel like. So there's actually a few rocks right here. We got lucky. A lot of times this happens. I'm coming in too hot, hit my brakes. There we go. It's like a little threesome over here. That doesn't have anything we want. Again, you're looking for Agricerium or Landite. 3.9% of the Agricerium, so that's great. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't really care. Or if somebody can tell me how to pronounce it, that'd be great. So the only rock over here out of these three that has anything in it that we can use, or that we want, is this guy right here. So we're going to switch to mining mode. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Start lighting that bad boy up. And it's actually really cool. As it starts getting hot, you start to see the fractures develop inside of the rock. It's really cool, interesting gameplay. So as we get almost up to the green, again, we're going to back off to 50%. Very quickly. And you can see there, that seems to work. See the orange glowing? It's like showing you where it's about to fracture. I think that's really cool. Yeah, like turning it. Sometimes you can hear the rocks actually boiling, depending on what kind of rock it is. There we go, that wasn't too hard. Now again, with the Helix laser, you're not going to have a hard time with any of these rocks. If we had the standard Prospector laser on here, we wouldn't have even been able to break that rock. Actually, most of the rocks you find, it's either you're going to sit there trying to break it for an hour, or you're never going to be able to break it. And that's really frustrating. So do yourself a favor, save up the 108,000 credits, and get the Helix laser. So we're just going to continue with our same strategy on this smaller piece, which has 15% Agricerium in it. So there's a chance that we might even find a piece of 100% Agricerium, which is the best pieces to find once we break this open, because it's obviously 100% of what you're looking for, and no dirt and other materials that don't sell well. So inert materials, you definitely don't want that. Those sell for about a penny per cubic yard, or SCU, or whatever you want to call it. And that's inert materials. And see, you'll see that your pieces of rock sometimes fall down the edge of the mountains that you're on. And we still haven't found that Agricerium, so we need to chase some of those rocks down. Oh, they tumbled all the way down here. If you've already scanned something and you hover over it again, it'll show you what's in there, so you can know. This orange rock has 3.6, so that would be worth breaking up. But we already broke one. Should have some Agricerium somewhere. This is all inert. Sometimes also pieces hide underneath other pieces, and they can be hard to get at. Rule of thumb is, if the math doesn't add up, if you broke something up that has Agricerium and you can't find it anywhere, it's probably hiding. In which case you need to blow up a rock. Not too bad, but maybe charge the overcharge sensor to 5 or 10% and let it fracture, because that explosion will move the rock pile, and you can find stuff underneath. So here it is. We found our Agricerium. It's 100% massive 98. So we definitely want that. Let's see what else we got over here. So the only other thing we have is this, which has 3.6 Agricerium in it. It's not much. It's honestly probably not worth my time, but for demonstration purposes, we'll go ahead and break it. So when you have a really low amount of Agricerium in this kind of second stage rock, you'll find that when you break it, the Agricerium that you're going to find is most likely below that 60% threshold that we were talking about. So it's really, up to you, but I usually won't break open a smaller rock that has such a low percentage. Usually I'm looking for about at least 10%. So here we found Agricerium, but it's only 4% here in the final purple color. Not worth the cargo space in our hold, which is exactly what I was thinking would happen. Now we'll scan all the rocks just to make sure there's nothing else. If I'm doing my math right, there should be some more Agricerium somewhere, but could be wrong. There it is, but it's, again, only 10%, not worth our time. So we're going to move on. There we go, we mined our second rock. Congratulations. Go back towards the rings again. If you don't have a landmark you're looking for, it can get very frustrating, because you're going to be scanning the same rocks over and over again, because you're going to be going in circles. Very important to find a landmark and to hunt the daylight. Look at that. Found some more rocks right here. I'm probably going way too fast to come in at this rock. So have to like circle around a bit. I've crashed so many times on this planet. Oh, there we go. I just crashed. Luckily, it did not. Oh, it's because my freaking cruise control is on. Wow. So, totally my fault. Oh, look at that. We got some more agrocerium. 3.6%. Not terrible. You know, the good rocks, the good, are like 10% and up in their original state of the mineral that you're looking for. 3%, I mean, you've seen what we've been able to find in the 3% levels. It's not a whole lot. I mean, it's better than nothing. We're 15% full, which is good. But when you find those rocks that are, you know, agrocerium 10, 15%, that's like when you hit the jackpot. You should be very excited about those because you'll find at least a few pieces that are 100% of the mineral that you're looking for. There we go, we've fractured. Let's look for our agrocerium. They're all going to slide down this hill. It gets a bit annoying. Titanium, no. Titanium, no. Titanium, no. Did we scan this one? Yeah. Titanium, no. Oh, there's our agrocerium, 20%. That's definitely worth breaking out. Again, be very careful with these small rocks. You can blow them up very easily. I have died more than once. Only reason why I can bring this video to you now with some tips is because I've already failed so many times. There we go. We should get some good chunks of agrocerium out of this. 40%, that's not great. We might go ahead and take it just because. If it's the only thing we got. Oh man, we really got gypped on this one. There it is, but 50%. We're gonna go ahead and take it just for demonstration purposes. I want to get enough cargo in my hold that we can go back and sell it so you can see how much you can make even with collecting these lower quality rocks. I'm gonna take this one too. Just to help get our cargo area full. Alright, that's all we can get from here. Oh wait, did we check all these other pieces? Make sure you scan all your pieces as I fly away. Oh, there is agrocerium in here, but again, not really worth our time. 3% in that rock. Okay, that's it. That's it for that rock. I think we saw another rock over here somewhere. Yeah, over there. Hopefully it's not a diamond. I hate the diamonds. Because, you know, unlike what common sense would tell you, diamonds are not that valuable compared to some of the other minerals in the game. So, even gold too. Like, gold is not very valuable in this game. You think that it would be, but it's not. Here we go. We found this guy over here. No, we don't want copper. So we're gonna head out of this little area. Go back towards our ring. I love this whole ship. It's nice. Saw some. That's probably what we already got. Oh shit. Fuck. Oh my god. Oh god. I just turned my engines off. Woo! Wow. What happened there is that I hit Z to get the outside look of my ship, and I got stuck. I already see a rock up there. You see it? That one straight in front of us, it has spawned out pretty far out. I know that's most likely a mineable rock, and look at that. Perfect example on why you should trust me. Because this method does work. Now again, it's just one little rock, and we'd rather find a group of them, so it's more likely that we will get what we're looking for. But at the same time, we won't pass up a rock that is right in front of us. I also see a little gangbang over there. You see it to the right? Those are definitely mineable rocks as well. And there's about 3 of them over there, so that's a good opportunity. Let's just scan this guy first. You see, we're pretty close to those guys over there, but they didn't show up in our scan. Shows you why, again, the secondary method of looking for rocks is sometimes better than scanning. We do not want this. We're going to head over there and see if those are, in fact, mineable rocks. I've been wrong before. Look at that. What did I tell you? Listen to the gay guy. He knows how to mine. This is probably 3 of them at least. Hopefully we'll find something. Sometimes with the gangbangs, though, multiple groups together, you'll scan every single one of them, not find what you're looking for. It's the only frustrating part. You're like, oh yeah, I found a group. You get all the way over there and they're all trash. Like in this case. None of those were anything we wanted. No big deal though. It's part of mining. We will go back up to our... We're on the plains now, so we'll get up to about a 600 altitude. And then we will continue looking. It'd be a good time to put on some mining music. I kind of see a group over there to the right, but I think that's actually a shadow where the snow is melting. When the snow melts, it is very dark black, which is like the same color as the rocks. So it can be a bit tricky. And that's when having your scanner really helps, if and when it works. Looks to me like over there on the right, that's more of a shadow than rock. So at this altitude, you know, anything that is spawning basically inside the white scan area on your screen, any rocks that are in there at this altitude are basically mineable rocks because, you know, that your scanner's pointing a little bit further out, probably around 3,000 meters out, which is where they start to spawn. And as you can see, there's a rock straight in front of us that is out by itself. No other rocks around. And that means it's mineable. Simple as that. Now, as we get in closer, you'll see some other rocks spawn. But those are all non-mineable rocks. Now, it is possible that this method won't work in a future update. They may decide to spawn in the rocks at the same distance. And if that occurs, then you will not be able to use this method. So you better get on it now while you still can and make them dollars. This is nothing. So see all that time we wasted coming down, slowing down? That's why you really want to just kind of go after groups if you can. That being said, some of the best rocks I've found have been out by themselves. So it's really just a crapshoot. You know, everybody's going to come up with their own strategy. I see another rock already. This is just what I found works best for me. And that might actually not be a mineable rock, but I do see another one out there to the right. Oh, it was. Look at that. I was right when my scanner was not even showing it. Those are the benefits right there. Nope. Once the first mineral displays and it's not what you're looking for, move on, because the most valuable minerals, like I said, show up at the top. When you get a question mark like this, that means there's probably a rock over there as well. That question mark comes from you scanning it. Because the boxing, the bound boxing does disappear if you don't keep scanning. The question marks stay for a little bit longer to help you find those rocks that you've already scanned. But I know we're coming up on a rock right here that is scannable. There she is. So you see how many rocks we have found now? Some of them have been duds. If you were hauling back gold and titanium and tungsten and you don't really care what you were hauling back, there's loads of material on every one of these moons for you to get. In this method, obviously, we're being a lot pickier. We're only taking the most valuable minerals, which that was not one. So both of those turned out to be duds. Again, it takes a lot of time to slow down and go over there. So just be careful. Use your time wisely. We'll continue to look out this way to see if maybe we can find another little gangbang. And it doesn't hurt to keep scanning. I mean, obviously, as soon as your scanner recharges, just go ahead and do it, even though it's not always going to show you everything that is available around you. You can also narrow down the scanner by scrolling your mouse wheel. This is a little bit beneficial if you see a rock far away and you're not sure. Well, if you see a rock far away, you should know it's mineable, but if you wanted to scan it, you could focus this in on it, and then your scanner supposedly goes a further distance when you have it zeroed in. Getting a little bit too low here. Just gotta watch your altitude, because you don't want those rocks spawning directly in front of you, the garbage rocks. You only want it so that you're right at the perfect level, that the mineable rocks spawn, like that guy sitting over there on the mountain ledge right there. And I bet you it won't show up in the scan. Let's test my method. Let's reduce the scan to just there, where the rock is. And I bet we'll find it. Oh look, even then we didn't find it. Oh, see, the scanner was bugged. That happens as well sometimes, where you think you're scanning, but you're not. Which is good to learn how to not need it, but I was right, that is a mineable rock. Sometimes you have a hard time getting that scan. There we go. All I did was turn my scanner off and back on. Alright, we're having a hard time finding more. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, this can be really frustrating. Especially when you're being picky and you're only taking the valuable rocks. It can be frustrating because I'm gonna say 9 out of 10 that you're gonna scan are probably gonna be garbage. And I know that seems like a high amount, but it's really worth it because we're going to be spending, I don't know, we've been mining for about 30 minutes. I think I see a rock. I think we're going to mine for usually you're going to mine for about 30 minutes, and you'll be full. And in this particular case, we haven't been so lucky, unfortunately. Of course, I'm streaming, and now I'm having a hard time finding good quality rocks. Sometimes you can fill up 20 or 30% of your cargo capacity on a single rock that is like Argoserium 14%. That can easily fill up 20% of your cargo with valuable minerals. Not this one. I thought I saw some other stuff over here. If we don't find some more rocks soon, we're just going to head back so I can show you how to sell your minerals once you're full. So you'll obviously just continue on with this method until, your cargo capacity is completely full. However long that takes. Sometimes, it only takes me 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour. It really just depends on where you are on the planet. The rocks spawn in randomly, so it really is just a crapshoot. Having a hard time scanning that. Oh. Not what we're looking for. So we are having a hard time finding the good high quality rocks today. Sometimes, when the going is rough like this, it could be better to just jump to another spot on the planet and continue looking over there. For this demonstration, I'm not going to do that just because it takes up more time. I'm going to continue here looking for maybe 1 or 2 more rocks we can scan, and then I'm going to head back to Port Alisar and show you where you can sell them and how much you can expect to get if you are using this method. See my little shadow there? That's kind of cool. You can also get this outside view, the outside view of your ship. can sometimes help you spot rocks that are off to the side. But I spend most of my time in this view. I think I see some rocks we can mine over there. Looks like it might be a little gangbang. Maybe. If my spidey senses are correct. Again, not showing up on the scanner, and we're pretty close. So if this is a little gangbang, it will show you that you definitely need an alternate method to mine. And look at that. We just found a gangbang using our eyes and not our scanner. Was not even showing up on the scanner. And we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rocks here. So chances are we will hopefully find something. Yeah. We will hopefully find something that we can fill our ship up with. You never know, though. I've come across big clusters of rocks like this and not found a single thing. There's an Argosium 3.6%. That rock's relatively small, mass of 1800, so it's really not that valuable. We're still going to break it, of course. Oh, here we go. Here's an Argosium 6%, so that's the highest we've seen on this trip. I like to scan all my rocks before I start breaking them up, because as soon as you start breaking them up, now all of a sudden you have 10 times as many rocks. And I like to break up the rocks with the most value first. Holy shit. This is an Argosium 19%, so our searching has paid off. This is the mother lode. That good. We are going to get a lot of good quality mineral from this rock. I will show you what I mean as soon as we break this bad boy open. Sometimes you do have to move your laser around. Oh gosh, I'm not paying attention. So you see we are getting into that overcharge area. Oh, I managed to avoid it actually. I'm that good. There we go. Didn't explode, thankfully. Here's an Argosium 30%, and we can still fracture it again. We'll go ahead and do that. It's kind of therapeutic, huh? Sitting here smashing up rocks. Taking our aggression out on the world. There we go. Now we should get some good collectible pieces. There it is. Argosium 100%. What did I tell you guys? This rock is so valuable. Now I want to catch those pieces before they join the rest of the pile, because I know one of them probably has something good in it. Where'd you go? Stop rolling down the hill. There she is. What'd I tell ya? 100%. Now we are 42% full, and I bet there are still plenty more in this rock for us. This is what happens when you find that really high value rock that has a really concentrated on the mineral that you want. There might even be some more in here. There's an Argosium. I can't tell if that's orange. Oh, it's purple. We're going to collect it. It's Argosium 60%. Oops. Be careful. If you put your laser on one of those purple pieces too long, it will vaporize. And then your beautiful mineral will be gone. Argosium 100%. Now, when you see Argosium 100% in an orange like this, that is the mother lode. Because when we break this piece up, all the pieces that come out of it are going to be Argosium 100%. And it's probably going to just about, oh shit. It's probably just about going to fill up our capacity, and we're only at 50% right now. This is 467 tons of pure Argosium. So this is, again, exactly what you're looking for. Oh shit. I'm going to turn off my laser. Oh, it's still blue. Woo! We need to find those pieces because they are valuable. Get that Good, good, 100%. That one will be too. All those pieces will be. We just gotta find them all. You can collect it from pretty far away. Further away you are, the slower it collects, but it doesn't really bother me. Okay, where the rest of those pieces blow off to? One hit me in the face, so I know it's gotta be behind me somewhere. There we go, there's one. Now there is a way to tell, ooh, we don't want that. There is a way to tell how picky you're being, if you're being picky enough with the rocks that you collect. And we'll talk about that when we get back to PO. Is there no more? I think we've gotten all the agricium out of this rock. If I'm doing the math correctly in my head. Sometimes I like to move to just get a different perspective. You see there's one hiding back there. In this case, we've already scanned it. And make sure we don't have any other pieces of 100% agricerium laying around. Okay. We will go ahead and break up one more rock before heading back. Now, we're not full, but you also don't want to fly around looking for rocks completely full. I would say if you're at least 85%, you should probably go back to PO. Because if you're going to be super mad at yourself if you come across the gangbang like this, and you don't have a space to hold everything, especially if you're getting that 100% agricerium, and you don't have the space for it, you know, you're going to be upset with yourself. Because you're going to have to leave it on the planet's surface, and you're never going to be able to find it again. I'm going to turn our laser off. You see how the fracturing is still going up. It's that hot, and we can actually hear it boiling. It's still going to fracture. And luckily it didn't explode. It is getting dark when we turn our lights on. Just use T. And that's the other thing too, is when you're mining like this and you find a big group, it's really easy to kind of lose daylight. Once daylight's gone, pretty much done mining on this piece. But you can just jump drive right over to the other side of the planet. Like, just go up pretty high and look straight down for a marker that has dots around it. And that means it's on the other side of the planet. And if you just jump over there, you should have daylight again. Doesn't always work, but works most of the time. You can also just jump to an OM marker out in orbit, and then look for where the daylight is as you jump from OM marker to OM marker around the planet. And then once you find the daylight, just head down to the surface. So it looks like that's all we're going to get here. We're 75% full, which I would say is pretty good. I don't think there was really anything else in this little patch. Oh yeah, actually agricium 6%. We definitely want that. It's higher than the one we just did, which was 3-something%. So we're probably going to get the rest of the way full here, which is perfect. And this is exactly why you need to find these little gangbangs or groups of rocks, because your success ratio is so much higher on finding the correct minerals that you're looking for. Obviously with higher, you know, obviously with the more rocks you have, the better your probability is of finding something good. And we didn't have to fly around for an hour looking for one rock here, one rock there, one rock here. We found 6 or 7 of them all at once using the non-scanning method. Sometimes it glitches like that. Just turn your laser off if the fracturing sensor is at 100%. It will eventually fracture. Sometimes they've taken, you know, a few, up to 30 seconds to actually fracture. So just keep that in mind. It's just a weird glitch in the game. Now in this case I know that there's most likely something hidden under here. I'm going to deal with this first, because it has some agricium in it. Yeah, well, we might want it to blow a little bit, so it'll blow some of these other rocks back. 4%, see, not worth it. I know there's got to be more agricium in here somewhere. And I'm reluctant to pick up any of this garbage because we're running out of space. So what I'm going to do is move around the rock and see if I can find some unscan sections from a different angle, like this one. See, here we go. More agricium in this rock. And then we're going to be really picky and just pick up the ones that are the highest concentration until we're full. And then we're going to head back. Sometimes these little pieces can be stubborn. Garbage. 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 See, we found an agricium 100%. If we had filled up on all that other garbage over there, the 30% or the 40% or whatever, we might not have had enough room for this. That's why you want to check all your options before you start loading stuff into your ship. Of course, if you find a really good piece, collect it right away. It's the worst that can happen, huh? Okay, so there were a few other pieces. Here's a 21%. I don't want the 5%. That's like nothing. So we'll take the 26%. Just to go ahead and fill up our cargo. Usually what I would do now is I would continue looking for a different rock that has a better concentration. This also has some aluminum in it, which we can sell. So we'll just fill up with this stuff so our cargo is completely full as we now head back to Port Alisar. So we're just going to go straight up until we get somewhat out of the atmosphere. Great thing about this ship, with your engines angled down like that, you can climb just as fast as if you were going forward in some of the other ships. Straight up. And straight down. Well, going down does not go quite as fast, but it's very useful to have that vertical landing and takeoff. So now that we're at about 10,000 feet, I'm going to just put this on cruise controls. And we will open up our star map. Oop, I hit the wrong number. You can still get there that way, but whatever. And we're going to head back to PO. It's a really easy run because it is not far at all. Now, the only thing you need to be careful of, and I will say this, is the only bad part about this, is if you arrive back to Port Alisar, sometimes, you know, there can be some nefarious players hanging around out there trying to pirate people, and I have been killed before. And, you know, if you die, you lose everything you just mined, and it was basically a waste of time. So it's very, very frustrating when that happens. You know, but I guess it's just life in the game. So what I do is I go ahead and spool to Port Alisar, and as soon as we get there, we're going to, as quickly as we can, do two things. Number one, we're going to spool our quantum drive to make sure it's ready to jump anywhere at a moment's notice. And number two, we're going to fly as quickly as possible to get inside of the armistice zone, which is around Port Alisar. Now, when you jump in there, you know, when you come out of jump, you're not going to be in the armistice zone. So a lot of people, what they do is they might leave their computer for a minute, they come back, you know, their jump has been completed, and they're just hovering outside of Port Alisar, outside of the armistice zone. It's an easy target for anybody who wants to take out another ship. So be very, very careful of that. You also have pad rammers and some other things. I'm not going to really talk about that because usually people aren't doing that type of stuff unless they're like 12-year-olds with the mental capacity of a cucumber. And in the new update, they'll go to prison for doing that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go as fast as we can. See, there is a bad player here, shown by the red. Let's see if we can target him. See exactly where he is. He might be parked, in which case we don't have to worry about him. Maybe we can go ahead and scan him. So he is in his ship. We're still not in the armistice zone. Just be careful you're not going too fast because it's easy to cross right. See how close we have to get in the armistice zone? And there he is, just sitting right inside. And be careful about how fast you're going, like that, because it's very easy to crash. Oh, wow. As I'm sitting here talking about how easy it is to crash, I did it here live on the stream with a full ship. And I didn't even get taken out by the fucking bad guy. I got taken out by my own stupidity. And that is actually the first time that has ever happened to me where I've crashed into Port Olisar. And I would have been fine, but I had my engines rotated the wrong way, and I couldn't rotate them quick enough to gain some altitude. Anyways, sorry about that. That was kind of a waste of time, I guess. Definitely for me, it was a waste of time. But if you did have a full ship, this guy's kind of cool. What you would do is you would just head to right here, this administration desk, and you would go to not this terminal here, but this terminal here. And on this terminal, you will find your ship, and your cargo will be here, and it will show you how much it is valued at. And you can sell it straight from this screen. Now, that full ship that we just had, I can tell you it was probably worth about between $60,000 and $70,000. So we honestly just lost quite a bit of money. But you can expect to do between $60,000 and $70,000 on each run with a full ship when you're being super picky. Again, on this screen, you can see what percentage of your cargo was inert materials, quote unquote, and that will tell you if you're being picky enough or not. So, sorry about that. What a disappointing 56 minutes this has been for me. Maybe for you, you learned how to mine, but for me, I didn't get any of my money. But we'll just say, hope you learned something. And I'll be back streaming live again a little bit later today, where maybe we'll do the same thing all over again, except this time maybe we'll actually get to sell it. Until then, see you later.